Hey folks, welcome to the Kara Banks Show and week 44 of a year of self-love journal book club. This week's mantra is, I am enough. I'm growing into the best version of myself. I will not compare myself to other people on the internet or in real life. And that parenthetical is there for a reason, on the internet or in real life. And have you ever heard the term that comparison is a thief of joy? It's real, and social psychological research backs it up, that when we get into this pattern of comparing ourselves with other people, we're gonna lose because we're always gonna be able to find someone who's better. And so it's not even worth engaging in the behavior. And so you could say, well, no, I know I'm better than so-and-so on this, so I can compare myself to them. But then you turn around, and especially now with the internet and social media, you can easily find someone who does that better than you. So it's just not worth getting into that pattern because it doesn't serve you. Even if someone is better or worse than you, you're still you. You're still doing what you're doing. And so if you have a goal or a dream or a desire to improve in a way, comparing yourself to someone doesn't help you get there. However, there is a thing called inspiration. And so one of the things that this week asks us to think about is like, what's the difference between envy and inspiration? And as I was thinking about this, I think envy for me, so I'd be curious what you think. For me, envy is when I'm comparing myself to someone else or my situation to someone else's situation. And it's almost like I'm sitting there desiring what they have. Whereas inspiration is like I see someone and they're having something kind of inspires me to move or to act. And so it's almost like, the difference really is my action or inaction. If I'm just brooding or doom scrolling and comparing myself and digging myself deeper and deeper into this hole, I'm stuck in envy. But if I'm acting, if I'm seeing something and I'm like, you know what, let me try that. Or you know what? That makes me think of this other thing that I meant to do or meant to try. That is inspiration. And so I'm less comparing myself to them and more so using them as a platform or a springboard for me to act because it's me against me. And so I want you to reflect this week about when, where, why you typically compare yourself. Like, is it with a certain person? Is it with a certain type of person or activity? Is it when you're feeling vulnerable that you're more likely to fall into that? Like, what are the circumstances that make you fall into the rut of comparison? Because it's good to kind of notice our behaviors and know if they're cyclical. Like maybe it's a certain time of the month that you're feeling extra emotional and you find yourself engaging in that behavior. And if you can notice that, you can notice it, but you don't have to engage in it or let it pull you kind of into the wave of that rut and pull you into that wave, that kind of, I don't know what I'm thinking, current. That's the word I'm looking for. That you can see it and feel the desire kind of ebb and flow. You can feel the urge to start comparing come, but you don't have to act on it. And so I want you to spend some time noticing and reflecting for yourself when you fall into that pattern. And then also think about how you can turn that comparison or that envy that you have into action, because it might actually be able to inspire you to do something you've been meaning to do or wanting to do. And so the question that I want you to ask is like, who do you admire? Who's a source of inspiration to you? And what might you learn from them? So rather than seeing someone you admire or something that you want and immediately turning it and saying, you don't have that or you can't do that, what does it inspire you to do or to reach for or to dream about and to capture that? Because that action is what might help you move closer to your goals. And then one of the suggestions of this week is a social media fast. And I don't know if you've ever done one of these, but it's easier said than done. And for some of us, if we're content creators or doing things on the internet and the social media, it's hard to do. And so you can think about doing a whole fast of like not being on a particular platform for a particular amount of time. Or one of the things that I have done is trying to simply not have my phone near me. So rather than like a social media fast, it's almost like a phone in proximity fast, because I find that when I have it close to me, it's more of a temptation. And there's actually research that has backed that up, that when you have it close to you, it can pull your attention. When it's on a different side of the room and a different place that's away from your workspace, that you're better able to focus. And what that can do is it can clear up some space in your brain for you to notice the different urges you have. And this can be helpful if your comparison is rooted in kind of social media and what you see on social media. If your comparison is someone in your life or in your workplace, this might not help in the same way. But it's good to help you if you're struggling with social media, because it can help you notice when the urges come up to check. And then once you've fasted and you've taken some space and time away from social media, it can help you notice the intensity of the comparison, or maybe even some other patterns in that behavior when you come back to it. But sometimes when we're just in it, we're just in it. It's like we're totally in it and submerged in it, and we can't quite see ourselves. The other activity of this week that I think is worth doing, regardless of where your source of comparison comes from, is the activity of owning your awesome. And this is important because it's essential to give ourselves kudos. And I'm not one to give empty affirmations. Believe me, my students will tell you, my children will tell you. I mean, I'm gonna tell you if you do a good job, but I'm not gonna gas you up and give you a participation trophy or a gold star if you're just being mediocre or half-assing something. But we should own where we are awesome and where our strengths are. And so spend some time like recognizing where you excel, where your strengths are, what you do well, what people consistently tell you that you're known for, and own that. Really own it. Like write it down so you can see it. Because when we get caught up in the comparison trap, it's hard for us to see that we do anything well, because we're simply focusing on how we're not as good as someone else. And so it could be that you come back to this list to remind yourself when you get caught up that comparison is the thief of joy, and you don't need to continue down that road. You can focus on what you can do well, what you're already doing well, what makes you awesome, and you also have goals. And then that's where you want to think about searching for sources of inspiration to move you actively towards your goals. So I'd be curious, share with me, what's your inspiration? Where do you catch yourself comparing yourself? And, how do you get out of that rut? Because we all do in different ways. And so don't beat up on yourself, but let's think about how to notice and then stop that pattern. Find me, Dr. Kira Banks, across all socials. I'll see you next time on The Kira Banks Show.
Have tea to spill or something you want to ask Dr. Banks? Contact her at kirabanks.com/stories or stories@raisingequity.org. Thanks for listening.